The flight was late in the evening, and the airport lights looked like small stars on the dark ground. Amara Lewis stood at the gate with a calm face and a tidy carry-on bag. She was a CEO who liked quiet details, a clean boarding pass, a well-sealed water bottle, a seat by the aisle so she could move without disturbing anyone. It had been a long week of meetings, and she was ready to sit, breathe, and think. When first-class boarding was called, she smiled softly, thanked the agent, and walked onto the plane. Inside the cabin, everything looked elegant at first glance. The seats were wide and smooth. The overhead bins closed with a gentle sound. A soft scent of coffee floated in the air. But there was also a hurried rhythm to the crew. Their shoes moved too fast down the aisle. Their voices were a little sharp with one another. A napkin fell near the galley and stayed there for a moment before someone picked it up with a quick, tired motion. Amara noticed these details the way a careful person notices the small signs of a bigger pattern. She placed her bag under the seat in front, set her phone to airplane mode, and took out a notebook with a slim pen. The passenger across the aisle was reading a magazine. 2 rows behind, someone whispered about a connecting flight. A young couple in the front row were taking turns looking out the window, their faces bright, maybe on their first big trip together. Amara was not here to judge anyone, and she was not in the mood to make trouble. She just wanted a smooth flight with simple kindness and safe service. After takeoff, the cabin lights softened and the crew prepared dinner. The menu offered 2 choices, a fish entree or pasta with vegetables. Amara usually chose the lighter option when traveling late, so she selected the fish with a side salad. The tray arrived with a neat napkin, a warm roll, and a small piece of lemon. The plate looked nice from a distance. When the lid came off, the first sign was not the look, but the smell. It was faint, but wrong, like the sea air on a day when the tide had been low and still for too long. She looked closer at the sauce. It had separated into 2 thin layers, one oily, one watery, as if it had been warmed and cooled again more than once. The fish itself looked firm in the middle and slightly glossy on the edge in a way that did not feel fresh. Amara did not make a face. She did not want to embarrass anyone. She simply pressed the call button and waited. A crew member came by with a quick smile that did not last long. "Yes. Hi," Amara said gently. "I think something may be off with this fish. The smell is a bit unusual, and the sauce looks separated. Could I please switch to the pasta instead? Or maybe just some fruit would be fine." The crew member nodded once, glanced at the plate, and said, "This is our standard. It's safe. You can try a different bite." The voice was not angry, but it was short, like a door that closes before you finish speaking. "I understand," Amara answered. "I appreciate your work. I'd still prefer a switch if possible." "I'll check," the crew member said, and moved away with a fast step. Amara waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. The pasta did not come. Water service began for other passengers, and the call lights blinked here and there like tiny, patient stars. Amara did not press the button again. She left the plate untouched, placed the lid back on, and pulled her phone from the side pocket to take a quiet photo. The timestamp mattered. Not for drama. For clarity. She made a small note in her notebook: fish entree, unusual smell, sauce separated, requested change, told standard and safe, no swap after 15 min. She did not write it with anger, she wrote it with care. Because in her work, facts were a kind of kindness, too. Facts helped people fix what needed fixing. She added another line: cabin mood rushed. Small signs, napkin delay, clipped tones. Across the aisle, the passenger with the magazine lowered it to look at their own tray. "This salad tastes strange," the passenger murmured to no one in particular. "Like it sat out." The crew member returned and said, "We can offer you bread." The passenger asked, "Could I switch to pasta?" There was a pause. Then, "We'll see." The tray remained. Amara took a sip of water and kept her body language calm. She was not the kind of leader who tried to win with loudness. She believed in steady, clear steps. She glanced at the galley again. The crew were moving fast. She recognized the look in their eyes, the look of people working under pressure without enough time or margin. She respected hard work. She also knew that pressure mixed with food safety can become risk if no one slows down to check. She opened her messaging app and sent a note to her assistant, who was still on the ground and not asleep yet. "Hi, can you please check the complaint history on this route in the last 60 days? Focus on catering and service response times. No rush, just when you can." She did not add any anger to the words. She did not mention names. She wanted patterns, not targets. The plane slid through a patch of mild turbulence, and a cart bumped the edge of a seat near the middle of the cabin. A cup wobbled and a little tea splashed onto a tray table. The crew member said, "Sorry," but did not pause to confirm if anything was hot on someone's arm. Another crew member followed with a trash bag and moved past a passenger who was still speaking, their question half in the air. It was not cruelty, it was pace. But pace can be unkind without meaning to be. When the plane settled again, Amara pressed her call button one more time. This time the purser came, the one with a small notebook tucked into a pocket. "Yes," the purser asked. "Good evening," Amara said in the same soft tone. "Thank you for your work tonight. I would like to switch my entree, please. The fish has an unusual smell, and the sauce is separated. I didn't eat it. I'd be happy with pasta, or even just fruit." The purser glanced at the plate and said, "We don't share ingredients and storage details with passengers. This is the standard entree." It was an answer to a question Amara had not asked. Amara gave a gentle nod. "I understand. Could you please let me know if the pasta is available?" The purser said, "We're busy with service right now. I'll try to come back." The purser did not return. A young crew member brought Amara a bread roll with butter and said, "This is warm." Amara thanked them and placed it on the tray. She did not eat it. She wrote a new line in her notebook: "Second request, no pasta bread offered, no ingredient list response, standard." A passenger behind her coughed twice and then pressed a hand to their mouth, looking a little pale. A crew member offered ginger ale and a napkin and moved on. Amara waited to see if anyone wrote down the incident. No one did. She did not assume the worst. But she wrote, "Possible mild illness, no documentation observed." She added the time and the seat row to keep the note useful. The cabin lights dimmed further for sleep. Some people closed their eyes with blankets up to their chins. A few screens glowed with quiet movies. Amara closed her notebook and looked at her untouched tray. She was careful with food when traveling because she had a shellfish allergy. She always checked labels, asked questions, and avoided anything that smelled wrong. To her, this was not about flavor. It was about safety. Safety is not dramatic until it matters too late. She breathed slowly and decided to keep her focus steady rather than turn this into a public exchange. Her assistant's reply arrived. "I checked quick public feedback on this route for the last 2 months. Several complaints mention spoiled smell, warm salads, and slow response to requests. Nothing official from the airline, but the pattern repeats." Amara read the message, saved it, and put her phone away. She did not smile, and she did not frown. She just understood the next step: keep everything clear, calm, and accurate. A crew member came by for trash. "Are you finished with your meal?" they asked. Amara answered, "Yes, thank you. I didn't eat it. It didn't smell right. Could you please note that?" The crew member hesitated, then said, "I'll take the tray," and moved on. Amara watched the tray go down the aisle like a small boat floating away in a quiet current. She did not chase it with more words. She trusted her notes more than a hurried conversation with someone who did not have the time or authority to change the system. The magazine reader across the aisle gave her a soft look of thanks, as if to say, "I saw that you tried." The couple in the front row were asleep, heads tilted toward each other, peaceful in the dim light. The cabin felt safe in many ways: steady air, quiet engines, strong seats, but it did not feel safe in the way that depends on people, the way of listening, the way of slowing down when a simple warning might protect someone. Amara took a final moment to center herself. She thought about her own team back at the office. They had a rule for days like this: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It meant that care at the start saves time at the end. She wrote that simple sentence at the bottom of her page, not as a lesson for anyone else, but as a guide for her next conversation. She would not argue in the aisle. She would not raise her voice. She would wait until landing, ask to speak with the right people, and share her notes plainly. The cabin grew quiet enough to hear the soft click of a buckle here and there. Amara closed her eyes for a few minutes, then opened them and took one more photo of the empty tray table with the small water bottle standing alone. She checked the time. She knew that later, someone might ask, "When did you report it?" or "How long was the delay?" She wanted her answers to be simple and exact. She put her pen away, straightened the blanket over her lap, and rested her hands. She did not feel angry. She felt responsible. That was her way. She had learned in life that small problems often point to bigger systems, and systems can be improved with truth, care, and follow through. For now, the best thing was rest. Morning would bring light, and light would make space for careful questions. Before she drifted off, she looked once more at the aisle. A crew member hurried past, eyes on a checklist. The purser spoke quietly to someone near the galley. The smell of coffee came again, familiar and kind. It reminded her that even on rough days, many things still work, and many people still try. She let that thought be the last one before sleep. The cabin hummed, the engines kept their steady promise, and Amara closed her eyes, calm, patient, and ready for whatever careful steps would be needed after the plane touched the ground. Morning light began to slip through the small oval windows, turning the cabin a soft silver blue. People stretched over their blankets. A few opened shades. A gentle rustle moved through first class as the crew started the next round of service. Amara woke easily, her mind clear. She glanced at her notebook and the small, neat lines she had written in the night. She did not rush to add more. She wanted to observe first, and decide what mattered most. A crew member came down the aisle with a tray of hot drinks. The cart moved a little faster than the narrow space allowed. Cups clinked. A spoon slid and bumped a saucer. When the cart reached the seat across the aisle, the passenger with the magazine asked, "Do you have ginger tea?" The crew member answered, "Only black tea and coffee." The passenger nodded and took water instead. A moment later, the same passenger lifted the salad lid and frowned. "This smells, not fresh," they said in a quiet voice. Amara looked up, calm and kind. She was not trying to become the center of anything. But she also believed that if a gentle word could prevent a problem, that word was worth speaking. "Excuse me," she said to the passenger, keeping her voice friendly. "Did you choose the fish last night?" "No," the passenger said. "I'm sensitive to seafood. That's why I was careful. But even the salad smells strange. Would you like to ask for a different option?" Amara asked. Sometimes a simple switch helps. The passenger nodded and pressed the call button. A crew member arrived, looked at the salad, and said, "It's standard. You can eat it?" The passenger tried again, a little firmer but still polite. "I have a sensitivity. Could I switch to pasta?" "We have limited extra meals," the crew member said. The passenger pressed their lips together, then softened their tone. "I won't eat this. If there's anything plain, that will do. Bread or fruit is fine. The crew member sighed in a small way that only someone paying attention would see, then said, "I'll check," and left. Amara did not add her voice to the moment. She simply noted the exchange and the time. A few minutes later, the crew member returned with a small bowl of plain pasta and an apple. The passenger thanked them. The bowl looked safer, simple, warm, and not risky. Amara felt a quiet relief for the other person's sake. She knew how much it meant to feel heard on a small request. The purser passed by, checking on seat belts and storage. Amara raised her hand slightly and asked in a gentle tone, "Could I please see the ingredients list for the fish entree from last night? I didn't eat mine." The smell seemed off. The purser gave a quick, practiced smile. "We don't share ingredients and storage details with passengers." Amara was careful with her reply. "I understand about policy. I have a shellfish allergy, so I'm usually extra cautious. If there is a way to confirm any cross-contamination, I would appreciate it." "The meal is standard and approved," the purser said. "Everything is safe." The words were balanced but final, like a door that is not slammed, only quietly locked. "Thank you for letting me know," Amara said. She made another note, "Request for ingredients list refused." Response, standard and approved. Allergy context shared. She did not add emotion to the line. She did not need to. The facts would speak clearly later. Midway through the morning, the plane hit a pocket of uneven air. The cart wobbled. A cup of hot liquid trembled and tipped slightly forward. It did not spill onto anyone, but it came close to an elderly passenger's sleeve. The crew member kept moving and called out a rapid sorry, then rolled on. The elderly passenger dabbed at a small dot on the tray with a napkin, looking a little unsettled. Another crew member followed with a trash bag and missed the passenger's lifted hand. The passenger lowered the hand and gave a small, patient smile to no one in particular. Amara observed the rhythm. It was not unkindness. It was hurry. Hurry had its own sound, its own temperature. It made people skip steps they knew, like checking if hot liquid had touched skin, or if a small worry deserved a small note on a log. Her pen moved again, hot drink near elderly passenger. Close call. No pause to confirm comfort. No documentation seen. She added the row number and the minute. Her phone vibrated softly in the side pocket. A message from her assistant glowed on the screen. Quick look at public feedback since early last month. Multiple reports: odd smell on fish, warm salad, slow response to special requests. A few mention this exact route and time window. Nothing official, but the pattern repeats. Want me to contact ops lead and in-flight head for you to connect post-landing? Amara read the text twice. She typed back, "Yes. Please schedule a short call after landing. Also locate regional manager for catering vendor on this route. We will keep this factual and calm." She set the phone down and breathed out slowly. The pieces were forming a picture. Not a dramatic picture, but a clear one. The magazine passenger finished half the pasta and set the bowl aside. "Much better," they said to Amara with a faint smile. "Plane is safe." "Plane is often good," Amara answered, her tone warm. She did not want to create a circle of complaint. She wanted a circle of care, even if small. The passenger nodded and picked up the magazine again, calmer now. A young parent 2 rows ahead tried to unwrap a snack with one hand while steadying a toddler with the other. The crew, still moving quickly, offered a blanket but not a seat belt extender for the parent's lap until the parent asked twice. When it arrived, the parent smiled in thanks. Amara watched the exchange and wrote a small note, "Assist after second request. Team seems overloaded." She thought about training. She thought about tools that make it easier to do the right thing on a busy day. She had learned in her own company that people rarely fail because they do not care. They fail because the system is too tight and the rails are not clear. She made a separate page in her notebook with the heading, Helpful Changes. Under it, she listed simple ideas in tidy lines: 1. Transparent ingredient cards for each entree; 2. Quick protocol for possible food issue, replace meal, log seat/time/description; 3. Simple language for crew to use, I hear you. I will bring something safe and plain now, and we will note this. 4. Hot beverage check, if near miss, pause to confirm passenger comfort and noted. 5. Allergy-friendly option always available. The purser returned to check the cabin again. The eyes looked tired now, but there was still focus in them. Amara respected that. When the purser paused at her row, Amara said, "Thank you for working through a busy morning. I want to make sure my feedback reaches the right place. Could you note that I left my entree untouched because of the smell? I believe it should be checked for temperature history." "We will note it," the purser said with a crisp nod. Then the purser moved on. Amara believed the nod. She also knew that notes get lost when people are stretched. That was why she kept her own. The captain made an announcement about calm air ahead and an on-time arrival. The tone was warm and steady. It reminded Amara that many parts of the system were running well. The engines were smooth. The flight plan was smart. The teamwork between cockpit and ground was visible in small, reliable ways. She liked balancing the picture, so she wrote a line that simply said, "Many things are right." It kept her honest with herself. As the crew prepared the cabin for descent, a second passenger mentioned a metallic taste in a salad. The crew member offered ginger ale and said, "It happens sometimes." There was no follow-up. Amara did not intervene. The plane would land soon. She focused now on being ready to speak with the right leaders, in the right order, with the right tone. She checked her photos, the sealed tray before opening, the entree when the lid came off, the separated sauce, the time on the seat screen when she first asked for a switch, the empty tray later. She checked her notes, times, brief quotes, no adjectives that could distract from the facts. She read the assistant's message again and confirmed the names: operations lead, head of in-flight, and the catering vendor's regional manager. She sent one more instruction: please prepare a simple timeline. Include a short section called "What helped so we don't forget positives." The cabin shifted into that quiet focus that comes before landing. Shades lifted. Seat backs rose. Belts clicked. The city below came into view in soft shapes and lines. Amara felt steady. She was not planning to scold or shame. She was planning to protect. That word protect was the heart of her decision. Protect passengers from food that might be unsafe. Protect crew from unclear rules that made their jobs harder. Protect the airline from slow damage to trust. When the wheels touched the runway, a gentle sigh went across the cabin, the shared relief of arriving. The plane rolled and slowed. The crew asked everyone to remain seated. The door opened with a soft thunk, and the first cool breath of the terminal slipped in. Amara waited until the aisle had space and then stood with unhurried grace. She stepped forward, stopped near the galley, and spoke to the purser in a calm, quiet voice. "Thank you for bringing us in safely. After we disembark, I would like to share formal feedback with the appropriate leaders. I have a detailed record. Could you please point me to the airport duty manager on this arrival, or your in-flight supervisor on call?" The purser hesitated for a second and then said, "One moment." There was a short exchange over a small device. The purser looked back at Amara. "There will be someone at the door." "Thank you," Amara said. She smiled once, briefly, to soften the moment for the person in front of her. Then she stepped into the aisle and waited her turn to leave the aircraft. The line moved. The cabin emptied. At the door, a ground staff member and another uniformed employee stood ready. Amara introduced herself simply. She did not list her job title first. She offered the facts first, because that was her way. I have safety-focused feedback about last night's catering and some service responses. I have notes and time stamps. May I share them with the operations and in-flight leaders? Yes, of course, the ground staff said. We can bring you to a quiet area. Amara nodded and followed. Behind her, the magazine passenger gave her a small wave of thanks. In front of her, the corridor opened to bright airport light. She walked forward with calm steps, her notebook secure in her hand, ready to turn careful observations into careful action, and to turn careful action into better care for the next flight, and the next. The corridor outside the gate was cool and bright. Amara followed the ground staff member to a small office with a glass wall. Inside, a duty manager waited with a tablet in hand. The room was quiet, with 2 chairs, a simple table, and a charging port by the wall. Amara liked the simplicity. It meant fewer distractions and more focus. Good morning, the duty manager said. I'm Lila. I understand you have feedback about the catering and service last night. Good morning, Amara replied. Yes. My feedback is focused on safety. I have a clear timeline, photos, and notes. Lila nodded and offered water. Amara sat, opened her notebook, and placed her phone beside it. She began in a steady voice. I ordered the fish entree. When I removed the lid, I noticed an unusual smell and a separated sauce. I did not eat it. I asked to switch to pasta or fruit. I was told it was standard and safe, and the switch did not happen for 15 minutes. I left the meal untouched. Lila listened closely. Did anyone check the entree after you returned the tray? I asked that it be noted, but I did not see any documentation, Amara said. I also observed a few moments that concern me. A hot drink came close to an elderly passenger's sleeve during turbulence, and a passenger a few rows back looked mildly unwell and was given ginger ale without a visible log. Small things, yes. But patterns matter. Lila's face stayed calm, but her pen began to move. I understand. Do you have times and seat numbers? I do, Amara said. She read directly from her notes, giving exact minutes and rows. She showed a photo of the entree with a clear time stamp visible at the top of the screen. She kept her tone free of accusation and full of detail. Lila nodded again, tapping details into her tablet. Would you be open to speaking with our in-flight supervisor on call? Lila asked. We can loop them in now. That would be helpful, Amara said. I would also like to request the temperature logs for last night's catered meals on this route, the chain of custody records for the fish, and confirmation of training completion for the crew regarding food incidents. Lila pressed a button on the desk phone. A soft tone, then a voice. In-flight supervisor here. Hi, Lila said. I'm with a first-class passenger who has safety-focused feedback about last night's service and catering. She has detailed notes. Thank you, the voice said. Can you summarize the key points? Amara leaned a little toward the speaker and spoke clearly. She repeated the facts, the smell, the sauce, the refusal to share ingredients, the delay in replacement, the near miss with a hot drink, and the unwell passenger with no observed logging. She added, I have a shellfish allergy. I am careful with meals. This is not about flavor. It is about safety and trust. The supervisor's voice stayed professional. Understood. We will need to check the remaining meals from that cart. I would like to request that the remaining fish trays from my flight be preserved and checked for temperature and freshness, rather than discarded, Amara said. Please also save the packaging labels. I can identify my seat and tray number if needed. Lila wrote preserve samples in big letters on a note and held it up for the supervisor's benefit, as if the voice on the phone could see. We'll coordinate with catering, Lila said. Thank you, Amara replied. I also recommend a quick check with two passengers in my cabin who mentioned concerns. One said the salad smelled not fresh. Another used the word metallic. I can point to their seats if needed. That would help, the supervisor said. We'll ask a customer care agent to speak with them, with consent. Amara nodded. I believe they would prefer something simple, just a record of what they experienced. They were polite and did not want to cause trouble. But if there is a pattern, their notes will make the picture clearer. Lila's tablet buzzed. She glanced down. Catering is sending a manager from the supplier's local facility. 15 minutes. That is good, Amara said. It will be helpful to see temperature logs and delivery times. A quiet knock sounded. The magazine passenger from across the aisle stood at the glass, guided by a customer care agent. Lila opened the door. We asked if this passenger would be willing to share a brief statement. The passenger entered, a little shy but determined. I'm not here to complain, they said softly. I just want to help. That is exactly the spirit we need, Amara said, and her voice warmed. Would you mind telling Lila what you experienced? The passenger described the salad, the smell that felt strange, the initial denial of a switch, and finally the small bowl of plain pasta and an apple that made them feel safer. Lila wrote as they spoke, then thanked them sincerely. We appreciate your time. When the passenger left, the room felt even calmer. The facts were collecting themselves with gentle hands. Amaro liked that. It meant everyone here understood the difference between blame and responsibility. Another knock. A catering manager entered with a badge and a worn leather folder. Good morning, he said. I'm Armin from Fresh Sky Catering. I heard there was a concern about fish quality. Good morning, Lila replied. We need temperature logs for last night's load to Flight 209 on this route, including holding times, transport window, and galley loading. We also want the ingredient label for the fish entree and any notes on reheating steps. Armin opened his folder and took out printed sheets. We log temperatures at pickup, departure, and delivery. We can also pull the digital record. Amaro looked at the sheets. Some fields were filled, a few lines had a dash. She pointed gently. What does this dash mean here? Armin glanced down. That field is for mid-route temperature verification if there is a delay. If on time, we sometimes leave it blank. Were you on time? Amara asked. Armin hesitated, then turned a page. We were 9 minutes behind schedule from the kitchen due to a tray sealer issue. But the truck is refrigerated, and the holding cart on the plane is insulated. Was that 9-minute delay recorded anywhere? She asked. It should be, Armin said. He looked uncertain now. I'll check the digital version. Lila spoke in a balanced way. Please pull the digital record. Also, we have requested that remaining fish trays from the flight be preserved for inspection. I'll call the supervisor in the operations kitchen, Armin said. We can pull 2 trays and hold them for quality control. Thank you, Amara said. Please make sure the outer packaging, inner label, and any QR code are kept. Armin nodded and stepped out to make his calls. The phone on the table lit up again. The in-flight supervisor had looped in someone else. This is David, operations lead. I'm joining the call. Thank you for joining, Amara said. To keep this simple, I am requesting 3 things. First, immediate inspection and preservation of the remaining fish entrees from last night's service. Second, retrieval of full temperature and chain of custody logs for that item. Third, a quick review of service protocol regarding ingredient transparency and replacement when a passenger raises a safety concern. David's voice was steady. That is reasonable. We can execute all 3 today. Amara added, I also recommend a small script for crew in these situations. Something like, I hear you. I will bring you something plain and safe now, and we will note this for follow-up. It lowers stress for both sides and makes a log more likely. That's a good suggestion, David said. We can add that to our debrief. Lila looked at Amara. May I ask, do you work in aviation or food safety? I work in risk and operations, Amara said, still simple. In my world, clarity saves time and protects people. There was another soft knock. A customer care agent reported, we spoke with the elderly passenger who had the close call with a hot drink. They are fine and calm. They appreciated the follow-up. We made a note. Good, Amara said. Small care matters. Armin came back in with his phone and a printed page. Digital record shows the kitchen exit at 19:06, 9 minutes late. Truck hold temperature logged at 2 degrees Celsius. Arrival at aircraft 1928. Cart staged. But, he tapped a line. The mid-transfer check from staging to galley is blank. That is a gap. The galley receipt is 1935. Is the blank acceptable under your standard? Amara asked. It should be filled if there is any delay, Armin said. We had a minor delay at the jet bridge with equipment positioning. That may be the reason. How long? Lila asked. 8 minutes, Armin said. The cart was closed, but yes, we should have a note. Thank you for your honesty, Amara said. Honesty is the first repair. The room was quiet for a moment. The shape of the pattern was visible now, a small delay at the kitchen, a small delay at the jet bridge, a blank field where there should be a note, a meal that did not smell right, 2 passengers with concerns, a crew under pressure. No single piece screamed, all the pieces, together, spoke. David's voice came through the speaker again. I'm asking in-flight to initiate a standard event report. We will interview the operating crew today. We will also pull camera footage from catering areas where permitted. We will inspect the preserved meals. Thank you, Amara said. May I make one more request? Go ahead, David said. Please ensure that any follow-up with the crew is balanced, she said. They were under pressure. The fixes we make should help them. Clear scripts, simple logs, allergy-safe options on every flight. This is not just about a plate. It's about the system around the plate. That's well said, David replied. Agreed. Lila looked relieved. We will also issue goodwill gestures to the 2 passengers who reported concerns, and we will inform them that a review is underway. Amara nodded. That is thoughtful. A gentle thought rose in her mind, and she added it to her notes, care is not loud. It is precise. The magazine passenger reappeared briefly at the door with a small wave, as if to say, thank you for taking this seriously. Amara returned the wave. It reminded her why she was here, not to argue, but to protect. Armin handed over a photocopy of the ingredient label for the fish entree. It listed the type of fish, the sauce components, and the allergens. Amara scanned it. Thank you. This helps. Please also review your sauce handling. Separation can indicate temperature swings. We will, Armin said. We can adjust our reheating guide and include a visual check. The phone call ended with clear next steps. Lila summarized them in one short list everyone could see: preserve samples, pull full logs, open event report, speak with crew, follow up with passengers, update scripts, review sauce handling. It was a good list. It felt like a bridge between problem and repair. As they stood, Lila said, I appreciate how calm and specific you have been. It made this easier. Specific is kind, Amara said with a small smile. It gives people a path. She picked up her notebook and phone. At the doorway, she paused. If the samples show an issue, please consider a temporary pause on this entree until the root cause is clear. And please let your front-line team know they have permission to switch a meal quickly when a passenger raises a safety flag. We'll take that forward, Lila said. Out in the terminal, the day was fully awake. Travelers moved with rolling bags and soft scarves, coffee cups in hand. The world had its normal music again. Amara walked to a quiet corner near a window and sent a brief message to her assistant, "Meeting done. Logs reveal small gaps. Samples preserved. In-flight and ops engaged. Next step, make fixes simple and repeatable." Her assistant replied, "Scheduled calls with in-flight head and catering regional manager in 2 hours if you want them. Do you want to add the airline's operations lead?" "Yes," Amara typed. "Let's include all three. Keep tone factual and constructive." She stood for a moment, watching a plane lift into the morning sky. She felt steady, not triumphant. It was not about winning. It was about making sure the next person on the next flight would get a safe, simple meal, and a kind answer if they needed a change. She closed her notebook and headed toward the meeting rooms, ready to continue, one clear step after another. Amara sat in a small meeting room near the terminal windows. The glass showed a busy runway and a bright sky. A tray with water and simple biscuits sat on the table. She checked her notebook again, then closed it. She had a clear picture now. The door opened, and two senior leaders walked in with measured steps. One wore a navy suit with silver pins. The other had a tablet and tired eyes that still looked focused. "Good morning," the one in the navy suit said. "I'm Rohan, head of operations. This is Mariella, head of in-flight. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us." "Good morning," Amara replied, calm and direct. "Thank you for making space quickly. My goal is simple: protect passengers, support crew, and fix the system." Mariella set the tablet down and nodded. "We read the initial report from the duty manager. You have a detailed timeline and photos." "I do," Amara said. "I'll share them in order, so nothing gets lost." She took them through the evening step by step. She spoke in simple words and short sentences. She showed the photo of the entree with the separated sauce. She shared her note about the unusual smell. She described the gentle warning she gave another passenger about a seafood sensitivity and the delay before a safe option was offered. She listed the moments of hurry that looked like small safety risks: the near spill of a hot drink by an elderly passenger, the unwell passenger who was given ginger ale but not logged, and the repeated phrase "it's standard," given without useful help. She showed the message from her assistant about repeated public complaints on this route for the last 60 days. She kept accusation out of her voice. She kept detail in her words. Rohan wrote as she spoke. Mariella watched the photos closely. When Amara finished, the room was quiet for a moment. The senior leaders looked at one another in a way that said, "We see it." "We've asked catering to preserve 2 fish trays from your flight," Mariella said. "They are being held for quality checks. The labels will be saved. We've also opened an event report. We will speak with the crew today." "Good," Amara said. "I have 3 requests and 1 offer. The requests: first, pause the fish entree on this route until the root cause is clear. Second, set a simple, fast script for crew when a passenger raises a food safety concern. Third, require a visible log with time and seat number for any food issue or passenger illness report." "And the offer?" Rohan asked. Amara looked at both leaders evenly. "I will make sure you have the resources to do this well. That includes budget for extra training hours, replacement meals, and an independent review of your catering handoffs this month." Mariella's eyes lifted. "That is generous. May I ask what role you hold with the company?" Amara answered in the same steady tone. "I am the majority investor in the parent group that recently led your financing round. My firm believes in this airline. When we invest in the standard, not just the numbers. Rohan exhaled slowly. Respect moved through his posture like a quiet tide. Thank you for being direct. We want the same thing. I believe you do, Amara said. And I believe your crew also want to do the right thing. They looked rushed. Rushed teams need rails. Clear rails make hard days easier. Mariella leaned forward. Can you outline the rails you have in mind? Yes, Amara said, and opened her notebook to a page titled Helpful Changes. She read each item clearly, transparent ingredient cards for every entree. A quick replacement protocol: when a passenger says smell or safety, bring a plain, safe option immediately: pasta, fruit, or bread, then log the event. A simple script: I hear you, I'll bring something safe now, we will note this. A hot beverage check: if there is a near miss, pause, confirm comfort, and log it. An allergy-friendly option on every flight. A small sticker or tag for carts that shows last verified temperature with time. Rohan wrote the list into his tablet. All doable, he said. We will need to update training. That takes hours. Training without time is paper, Amara said gently. We will pay for the hours. We will also pay for a quick independent check of your catering chain this month. I want to see the truth, end to end, kitchen exit, truck hold temperature, staging, jet bridge delay notes, galley receipt, reheating guides, and visual checks for sauce stability. Mariella nodded. We can arrange a walkthrough at the catering facility today. Please include your in-flight trainers, Amara said. I want them to see the same picture. When trainers and doers see together, changes stick. There was a knock. The catering manager, Armin, entered with a colleague wearing a quality badge. We have the digital logs, Armin said. There was a 9-minute delay at the kitchen and an 8-minute pause at the jet bridge. The mid-transfer temperature field is blank. That is a gap. We have preserved 2 trays from last night's flight. Thank you, Amara said. Please bring those trays to quality control with witnesses from operations and in-flight. Take photos of the labels, lids, and internal temperature readings. If in doubt, discard, and document why. Pause the entree on this route for now. Armin agreed. The colleague made a note to alert the kitchen lead. We'll switch to the pasta entree for the next 2 rotations. We will add a visible check for sauce separation before loading. Good, Amara said. Separation can be a small sign of a big swing in temperature. A simple look can save trouble. Mariella looked at Amara carefully. You are asking us to take the operating crew off duty today. I am asking you to remove them from duty pending review, Amara said, clear but kind. Not as punishment, but as protection. We owe them a fair, quick process. Their logs and training records will help us see where to strengthen the rails. If your review shows serious gaps in care or honesty, then HR will follow policy. But I want the process to be fair and the tone to be respectful. Rohan nodded. We will stand them down for now and conduct interviews today with support present. Thank you, Amara said. Please also ask them what would have helped last night. Ask, what tool or rule would have made this easier? Their answers will be gold. Armin's colleague looked thoughtful. Sometimes the carts arrive late and we rush. A simple no-blame note when there's a delay might help us slow down and do a temperature check. Good, Amara said. Let's put that into the process. If late, then log temp now, out loud, with 2 people watching. They moved as a group to a small shuttle and rode to the catering facility. The building smelled like stainless steel and soap. Inside, work was steady. People wore hairnets and gloves. Thermometers hung from hooks. A supervisor met them with a clipboard. Amara asked simple questions and listened to simple answers. She did not lecture. She made small suggestions: a bold sticker for last temperature verified, a fixed shelf for allergy-safe items, a bright card with the ingredient list taped to each entree tray. They examined a sealed fish tray from the preserved batch. A quality technician opened it, took the internal temperature reading, and wrote it down. The number was within range now, but the technician frowned. The sauce looks split, they said. If a tray sits at the edge of the safe zone and then is reheated, this can happen. Show us your reheating guide, Amara said. The laminated card was clean. The steps were clear. But there was no visual check listed. Please add a final line, she said. If sauce is split or smell is unusual, discard and replace. Take a photo and note the tray ID. The supervisor nodded. We can add that today. Back at the airport office, the in-flight trainer joined them. Together they sketched a short, friendly script for crew use. They kept the words light and kind. They added one line to help a tense moment feel safe: thank you for telling me. You helped us keep everyone safe. They wrote a 3-step log: seat, time, note. They promised to keep the log in the galley within easy reach. They planned a 5-minute micro-brief before each service: location of allergy-safe option, backup plain meal, and who will handle logs if something happens. A union representative joined for 10 minutes. The mood stayed respectful. Amara said, this is about care and clarity. We will give your members the time and tools to do this right. We also expect the standard to be real in the aisle, not just on paper. The representative agreed. If the rails are clear, our people will follow them, they said. We just need management to protect the time. You will have it, Amara said. We are funding the hours. Her assistant sent a short text: press is asking about a rumor of a catering pause. Do you want to respond? Amara typed back, no comment yet. Focus on fixing first. Then we can share the steps we took to protect passengers and support crew. The in-flight head, Mariella, turned to Amara. There is the question of accountability today. We have to decide what to do with the operating crew. Stand them down, Amara said. Speak with each person. Compare their notes with passenger and catering logs. If someone dismissed safety concerns without offering help or log, note it. If someone tried to help and was blocked by process, note that too. Then decide. I will support your decision if it follows policy and protects the standard. We will move now, Mariella said. I'll meet with HR. Amara stood. I will step out so you can do your work. Before I go, I want to say this clearly. We invest in people and standards. Today is not about a headline. It is about a habit. The habit we build here: ask, replace, log will save time, protect health, and grow trust. Rohan extended his hand. Thank you for your clarity, he said. We will brief you by late afternoon. I'll be ready, Amara said. She walked to a quiet corner near a window and called her assistant. Please draft a 72-hour plan, she said. Short, simple, with times. Day 1, pause entree, stand down crew, preserve samples, start interviews, update catering visual check, start micro briefs. Day 2, publish crew script, roll out quick logging sheet, audit 2 more flights on this route with observers. Day 3, share findings internally, list long-term fixes, confirm training hours, set secret shopper flights for the next month. On it, her assistant said. Amara looked at the runway again. A plane rose into the blue, steady and smooth. She thought about the magazine passenger who had thanked her with a small smile. She thought about the elderly traveler and the close call with the hot drink. She thought about the purser, who had looked tired but focused. She thought about simple tools that make hard days easier. Her phone buzzed. A message from Mariella: crew stood down pending review. We will proceed with formal actions after interviews. Catering pause in place. Script and logging sheet will be in galleys by tomorrow morning. Thank you. Amara typed, "Thank you for moving fast and fair." She closed her notebook. The day felt lighter, not because the problem was gone, but because the path was clear. In her mind, she repeated a quiet rule she loved: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Today, slow questions had made a smooth plan. The plan would make tomorrow fast in the right way. And that, she knew, was the real turning point. Day 1 moved like a careful song. The team followed the simple plan Amara had asked for: pause the fish entree on this route, stand down the operating crew with pay, preserve the remaining trays, and start interviews with support present. Operations, in-flight, and catering all moved together. No one rushed. No one tried to make a headline. They just did the next right thing, step by step. The quality team opened the preserved trays with 2 witnesses. They took photos of the labels and lids. They recorded the internal temperature at the moment of opening. The numbers were not shocking, but they were close to the edge of safe. The sauce looked split in both samples. The technician wrote a clear sentence: appearance suggests temperature swing and reheating stress. It was not a dramatic line. It was an honest line, and it matched what Amara had seen. The HR team met the crew one by one. Each person sat with a representative and a supervisor. The questions were simple. Did any passenger report a concern about food smell or safety? What did you offer in response? Did you log the event? What would have helped you last night? The notes were tidy. Some answers were hard to read. One crew member said, "We did not have a clear rule to switch meals fast. We felt we would run out." Another said, "I thought saying standard would calm the passenger." A third said quietly, "I wanted to help, but the pace was too high, and I did not know who would write the log." I am sorry. The logs told their story too. There was no record of the unwell passenger. There was no entry for the close call with the hot drink. There was no note that a meal was returned untouched due to smell. It was not a case of mean people. It was a case of missing rails on a fast day. Still, the gaps mattered, because safety and trust live in those small lines. By late afternoon, Rohan and Mariella shared a short update with Amara. "We found repeated failures to log," Mariella said. "We found refusals to switch meals quickly when safety concerns were raised. We found the use of a phrase at standard that shut down care." "Thank you," Amara said. "What are your decisions?" Rohan spoke plainly. "We are removing the entire operating crew from the line. 2 crew members will separate from the company for cause based on policy. The others will move to a 30-day training and shadow period with mentors. They will only return to service after passing a practical check. The purser will be reassigned to a different route under a senior mentor for 2 months." Amaro listened without joy and without anger. "Make sure the process is respectful," she said. "Give them a clear path if they stay, and a clear message if they do not. We will also invest in tools so the next crew is not left alone with a hard moment." That evening, the airline posted a calm internal note. It did not blame. It did not shout. It said, "We paused an entree out of caution. We found process gaps in a recent service. We are fixing them now. New steps: fast replacement for safety concerns, simple script for crew, visible log for any food issue, and an allergy-safe option on every flight. Thank you to our teams for moving fast and fair." The note ended with a line that felt like a small light: "Specific is kind." Day 2 began with a micro-brief in the galley on the first flight of the route. The in-flight trainer held up a small card with 3 lines printed in large letters: "I hear you. I'll bring something safe now. We'll note this so it doesn't happen again." Next to the card was a small log sheet with 3 boxes: seat, time, note. A pen was clipped to the board. The backup plain meal and the fruit tray were in a marked spot. The allergy-safe option had a bright label. A small sticker on the service cart showed last temp check, 06:55. It was simple. It was visible. It was real, not just written in a manual. On the next two flights, observers watched quietly. They did not interrupt. They just looked for a few key moments. When a passenger asked for a change, did the crew move fast? When a small worry appeared, did someone write a quick log? When a hot drink wobbled, did the crew pause to confirm comfort? The answer, flight after flight, was yes. The new script lowered stress on both sides. The log took seconds, not minutes. The plain meal solved problems before they grew. Catering added a visual check to the reheating guide. If sauce is split or smell is unusual, discard, replace, and no tray ID. They put a bold sticker on each cart with the last verified temperature and time. They also placed ingredient cards in clear sleeves next to each entree. It was not perfect, but it was strong. It turned many I don't know moments into here is the answer. On day 3, Rohan and Mariella invited the frontline union rep back and walked through the changes. These steps save time, the rep said. They protect our people from guesswork. We like the script. We like the log. We like that the allergy-safe option is always there. Then the rep added something human and kind, please also tell the team thank you when they use the log. Small praise keeps the habit strong. Amara read the 3-day summary at her desk by the window. The report was short. It listed what went wrong, what they changed, and what they would keep watching. It included 2 notes she had asked for, what helped and what we learned. Under what helped were these lines, observers on first 2 flights, clear scripts, visible logs, quick catering label checks. Under what we learned were these, pressure hides gaps, tools make care faster, kindness and accuracy can live together. She wrote back to the team, well done. Keep the changes simple. Keep them visible. Add one more item, an anonymous hotline for crew and passengers to report safety concerns without fear. Keep the tone supportive. The goal is learning, not blame. The hotline went live a week later. The first messages were small and useful. Tape the ingredient cards higher so they don't get splashed. Put the logboard on the left galley wall, right side is too crowded. Add plain crackers to the backup safe options. Each small note made the rails smoother. Later that month, the airline's communications team asked if they could share a short public update. We kept passengers safe by pausing a menu item and updating our process, the draft said. We listened to feedback. We acted. We added food safety checks, a fast replacement script, and a simple log. We thank our crew and partners for improving with us. There was no mention of names. There was no drama. It was enough. One morning, Amara visited a training session quietly. She sat in the back with a notepad and listened. The trainer used a simple example. A passenger says, "This smells off." What do we do? A crew member answered, "We say, 'I hear you.' Then we bring something safe now. Then we note it." The trainer smiled. "Good. Why do we log it?" Another crew member said, "So the next team can fix it faster. So the system learns." The trainer nodded. Exactly. During a break, a young flight attendant approached Amara without knowing who she was. "I like the new cards," the attendant said. "They make it easy to help." Amara smiled. "Tools that help are better than rules that scold," she said. The attendant laughed softly. True. A month passed. The route's customer scores rose. Complaints about food smell dropped. Logs appeared when small things happened. The crew began to thank passengers who spoke up early. "You helped keep us safe," they would say, and it was true. One afternoon, Amara flew that route again, quietly, with her usual small carry-on and aisle seat. The cabin felt calm and focused. The crew moved with that good rhythm that looks slow and is actually fast. The cart rolled by with soft clinks. The ingredient cards sat in clear sleeves by the entrees. The script card rested in the galley like a friendly reminder. The temperature sticker on the cart read last check, 11:32. When the meal service reached her row, she chose the pasta. It arrived warm and simple. The sauce looked steady. The salad was cool and fresh. She ate a few bites and smiled. A few rows ahead, a parent asked for a plain option for a child. The crew member answered with soft words, "I hear you. I'll bring something safe now." A moment later, a small plate with fruit and crackers appeared. The crew member returned and wrote a quick note on the logboard. The parent's shoulders relaxed. It was a small scene, but it carried the whole story inside it. After landing, the purser stood at the door. The face looked new, but the eyes had the same steady light she had seen in good leaders. "Thank you for flying with us," the purser said in a fresh, sincere voice. Amara thanked them back and stepped into the bright air of the jet bridge. Back at her office, a final HR note waited on her screen. The two crew members who had separated from the company had received fair notice and support. The others had completed training and passed their practical checks. The purser on Amara's first flight had returned to service under a mentor and was doing well on a different route. The message ended with a human line, "People learn when the path is clear." Amara looked out the window for a long second. She thought of the magazine passenger with the quiet smile, the elderly traveler with the near spill, the young parent who needed a safe plate for a child. She thought of the crew who wanted to do the right thing and now had the tools to do it. She thought of the simple cards, the little log, the sticker on the cart, and the soft script that turned a tense moment into a calm one. She sent one last message to the leadership team: "Thank you. Keep watching the basics. Keep listening to the small signals. Keep treating facts as care. And whenever in doubt, remember our 3 steps: ask, replace, log." In the weeks that followed, Amara kept the photos and notes from that first night, not as proof against anyone, but as a reminder of how small, careful steps can protect many people. She never raised her voice. She never looked for praise. She focused on the standard, because the standard protects everyone: the customer in seat 2A, the new attendant on their first shift, the elderly traveler in row 5, the parent trying to feed a child, and the company that must earn trust every single day. On a quiet evening, she sat in a simple airport cafe with a fresh meal that was warm and kind. The lights were soft. The air smelled clean. A crew walked by, laughing gently with that shared pride that comes after a good day's work. Amara felt a steady peace. She closed her notebook and put her pen away. The lesson was not loud, but it would last. Good care is clear care, and clear care is the way trust grows, one small, honest step at a time.